I think maybe I can start.
Okay.
That's good for you. Because I think, I mean, when I committed to this project, I didn't actually realize that we were supposed to make something together. So I didn't, and then weeks have been very hectic, so I haven't really had a lot of space to dream of what we could do together, because also I actually should wanted to know more about your work or look at it, or I thought actually maybe we can do that next week. We should do like or I would be willing to present my work to you, previous work I've done, so you have an idea of the kind of work I do. It's easy. I can share screen and I can show you images and explain a little bit about my approach. Besides that, I actually really craved doing something analog, something,
Mm.
and it can be about the digital world, or there can be like a conceptual link to a virtual reality, or the fact that it's a collaboration through a digital medium. But I would really like to paint or do something with my hands and not just on my computer.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
it's strange because normally I always work from an idea, and then, and I think maybe you too, first the idea or the what I want to work around, and then what is the best way to do that? What is the best medium? What is the, with my, in my work it's usually photographic, but then it expands, it can become an installation or video or text or audio, or so then I look at what are the best tools to tell this specific story. But I just feel on a personal level, I really crave doing something physical, tangible, something that is
Mm.
not just on my computer, something that is not just taking pictures with my camera, but
Mm.
really like a different creation process. I crave that personally.
Mm.
So I'm just yeah saying that because that's kind of how I feel. But it's yeah, and because I studied painting first, actually, before I did photography. And I got kind of traumatized by the school I went to, and I never picked up a pencil again.
Actually, that's really lovely, and that's kind of like the premise of my own kind of inclination as an artist. Like you, I think that the conceptual art practice is what, or in research driven, is kind of like my more kind of how I work from projects to project. It's research driven, but the tangibility of materiality and the analog and the material intelligence is also really important, and it actually also support me in terms of determining what medium it will take up, right? So yeah, I'm all for the materiality. Right. I mean, I would. That's one thing, though. One thing is that I also can totally relate to being traumatized by painting teachers. I fail. And here's the thing: I fail in my undergrad. This was like years and decades ago, like 100 years ago. I failed experimental painting. How do you fail experiment paint? I can't even see. I'm so traumatized. I can't even say
I'm sorry.
it. No, yeah. So I think I felt it's like, okay, he was a very nice, gentle teacher, and he pulled me aside, and he's like, I don't want to give you a D, so you're gonna get a C minus. So the generosity but is there to support the young artist, but it's equally crushing because you know that you fail, right? On papers you didn't quite fail, but a C minus in art school and in art experimental painting. So I totally relate and trauma about being traumatized. And then I was embraced by the faculty in the shops area, in the sculpture arena. And but so, you know, we find kinship, right? We find mentorship. I don't know what we can do together right now. I was also thinking about that, and because I also have a collaborative practice with my partner. um, but right now I'm finishing a side of a project that I can talk about a little bit more, that we can do definitely next time, kind of a studio tour, or I can And I've been working with more of like children clay, and so that actually in this room, sometime when I'm sitting and on different meetings, I've been kind of, sculpting or finishing this piece. So I've been sanding little crevices in and just kind of finishing it so that
Nice.
I'm preparing the piece so that eventually this is the next part that I'm working with. So the materiality is um, very much kind of part of my life, actually.
Yeah,
So
yeah. The texture of things is interesting. And I feel like I've been gravitating towards that even in the photography, but it would be nice to now take the space to do the next step where, okay, a photograph can be the starting point, but
mhm,
then I want it to transform. This
mhm,
is what I
mhm,
usually don't really have time or space for when I do commissions or when I do my work.
mhm.
um, the creation process starts with photography, and then for everything that comes after, which is actually much more where the evolution in my work could be, there's
Mhm.
no space for that, there's no time for that.
Yeah. Or maybe that sometimes do you find that that's like I find anyway, the stuff that the kind of materiality that I can gather sometime in the research, the kind of things that's found in the world. Sometimes it doesn't make itself into the finished piece, but it's there, and there's incredibly almost precious, even for me, as the art that the material that's gathered at the moment. And sometimes I feel that to hang on to those, and and they seem to be peripheral, and sometimes they became kind of actually pivotal for the piece. And as my kind of responsibility to find a way that I can incorporate what I love.
Yeah, yeah, that's for sure the advantage of collaboration, because it also pulls you out of your own mind, right? Someone
Mm-hmm.
else contributes. How do you
Yeah.
feel about collaborating with your partner? What is the
Uh,
process like for you?
oh my goodness. Challenging, challenging, absolutely. But it's also, I think that also make us a lot stronger as artists, but also as collaborators in life, that we take on each other's strength and really learn about that.
Why do people not share their manual? It's like a secret recipe, right? Like, how do you do it?
Yeah, yeah,
Because I feel
yeah.
like I'm in the process of those first years where it's very difficult to find that balance, and I'm like, please, does someone have a structure for it, or like a questionnaire to follow a schedule, or like, yeah,
Yeah, I think that's there's because you can't have a complete manual because everybody's different, and
of
the
course.
energy and also the rhythm of work is different. Like
And the
I
rhythm of a person, even the sleep rhythm, the eat rhythm, the physical rhythm, everything. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. Yeah. So then we have to kind of find that space, just like you and I were learning about our scheduling from afar, right? And what works for you after the end of your day. And then for me, it's my middle of my day, which then this is the break before I enter to the next conversation. With the pandemic and being kind of at
It
home a
flies
lot,
by.
you learn a lot from about each other, and then what I think that your strength and weaknesses are kind of magnify because it's a 24/7. You can't get away from that, right? Yeah. And I find, one thing that I find is really useful is to take each other's on walks
Mm.
so that get away from the space, and we can talk either walks for creative brainstorming, or walk to talk through like the challenges of our families or personal of our relationship, where to go next. So taking walks so that you get the kind of like you get fresh air and you're not feeling like closed in. So I think that's been really helpful for us.
Yeah, sounds good. And I guess you can do nice walks over there.
We can. Yes, we can. Now we can.
With all your
Even this
raccoon
person.
friends.
I'm sorry?
I say with all the raccoon friends, they're
You know,
gonna
the
start recognizing you. Who knows? They're gonna come join you for your walk next time.
walks, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, no, we have to, it is one of the reasons why we're here during this time, is just so that we can have the space to think and feel somewhat a little bit more free to do that. Whereas where we are in New York, um, we couldn't
Oh.
really go out. You know, we have
And
to
you
find,
moved during the pandemic. You really
yeah.
chose to live this time somewhere else. It's very smart.
Yeah, yeah, because we,
Very
yeah,
cool. It's
because
very nice. Yeah.
we had such a tiny place that, you know, when during the lockdown, and we were both teaching, so I was teaching in my bedroom, right, and you know, right next to my bed, with the angle up so that nobody see my bed, when my students don't see my bed
Yeah, I
and stuff
also
like
want
that.
special angle for all the pieces in the house that are still
Mhm.
leaking. Like
Yeah.
I have to make a nice frame for it.
Yeah, yeah, the Zoom background technique. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, in a different way. Yeah.
All right.